so a struct object can have an implied identity via its field names. In the quiz, though, we saw that it's a feature or a bug. Matlab struct objects are actually very unstructured. Here the user unintentionally spells the field name incorrectly, a lowercase name instead of an uppercase name, hence adding a new field. Also, a number rather than a character string was inserted in the third element's name field, and a character string was inserted in the third element's SID field. So there's simply no control over assignment or access in Matlab struct objects. Let's look at some other aspects of the language which enable that functionality. Here I'm showing the contents of a very short file called employee.m. The existence of this file now defines a new class, the class called employee, and this file can construct objects of this class. The class defines objects which have three specific properties. They're shown here in this properties block. The properties are all named and have default values. There's a name property with a default value of empty, a category property with a default value of trainee, and finally an ID number property, again with an empty default value. Objects created from this definition behave exactly like structs with these three fields. Property values can be referenced and modified, and array concatenation is allowed. What's interesting is that unless we were to edit this definition and change it, no new properties can be added. So spelling error problems won't introduce new unwanted properties as what had occurred in the struct example that we just looked at. However, access to the properties is still not controlled. So for example, the value of the name property can still be set to a double. Let's experiment with this class definition in Matlab. Over in the editor is the employee.m file. It's 7 lines long. There's the properties block defining the three properties, name, category, and ID number, and the default value of trainee for category. Go to the command window and create an object of this class by simply calling the employee class def file with no input arguments. Whos shows that the class of E is indeed an employee and its size is 1 by 1. The function isScalar also works on this class, returning true. The display gives a little more information, showing that property values for name and ID number are empty and that category is trainee. There are no methods listed for this class because we haven't written any methods yet. We'll get to that shortly. Now let's assign a name, Joe Smith, and change the category to intern. And give Joe an ID number. Now the display shows all the property values. The property values can be referenced as well and used in expressions. Let's see what happens if, in assigning the category property, we misspell the property name, say miss the capitalization. Remember, for structs, this led to a new and unwanted field and did not actually change the value of the field we tried to change. Here, though, the class definition restricts the object to only have the three properties set forth in the class definition. Notice there's no field category. So we'll get no phantom properties from spelling errors. This is good. Unfortunately, the properties can be changed to any Matlab values, whether they make sense or not. Let's change the name to a random 1 by 5 matrix, change the ID number to an empty cell, and finally change the category to Fred. E is still of class employee, even though the data in the property values no longer make sense. Next, we'll see how to control the access to properties so that these types of mistakes cannot happen.